your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not accidentally shifting through time and space to save some money on my electric bill, I'm here at the Wolfula reviewing movies. Not too long before my review of the horrendous Open House went up, Netflix announced another original film right up my alley during that Super Bowl thing. The film was the newest entry in the loosely connected Cloverfield franchise, the Cloverfield Paradox. The thing is, Netflix immediately made it available after that little game was finished. It was something else, but it was a little fishy. Now, I like the first Cloverfield fine enough. It was a fun, found-footage giant monster film, but I loved 10 Cloverfield Lane, the claustrophobic bunker entry with an incredible performance by John Goodman. The thing is, 10 Cloverfield Lane wasn't originally intended to be a Cloverfield sequel, and neither is the new movie. The sequels to the first Cloverfield started as unrelated films that were tweaked to include some Cloverfield stylistic elements, subtle references, and have alternate reality games with certain connections. Essentially, the once dormant Cloverfield franchise has become a retroactive anthology series, with mostly standalone stories that Bad Robot has given the Cloverfield license because it's less risky to release a movie in the flooded market with a recognizable title. Honestly, if it meant getting a movie like 10 Cloverfield Lane at all, I'm fine with that strategy. But now we have the Cloverfield Paradox, a film that began as God Particle, but after its budget ballooned from $5 million to $45 million, Bad Robot decided it'd be best to go with the 10 Cloverfield Lane strategy again, much to the chagrin of Cloverfield purists who wanted a new giant monster film. Thing is, though, this Cloverfield sequel is much more overtly connected to the original flick. In a weird and unclear way, Cloverfield Paradox is possibly even a prequel. The film takes place in the not-too-distant future during an energy crisis, and to try to solve the crisis, Cloverfield Station, equipped with a fancy particle accelerator, is launched into space. I think it does some science shit with the sun or whatever, I don't know, but its purpose is to provide an infinite energy source to Earth. Thing is, during the exposition scene, a seeming crackpot mentions the Cloverfield paradox on the news, theorizing that if Cloverfield Station's particle accelerator is successful, it would create portals to other worlds that would unleash monsters.
Monsters, demons, beasts from the sea.
To clarify, you believe their efforts to solve the energy crisis might unleash demons?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it would be monsters specifically, but hey, what do I know? After nearly 2 years, Cloverfield Station's crew haven't been able to successfully sustain a beam anyway, and tensions are not only rising on Earth, but amongst the crew members above, especially as their fuel begins to run out.
And we only have enough fuel for 3 more firings.
Aw, man. You know what they could use? An infinite source of energy. Eventually, though, the station manages to generate a beam that's stable enough, but it's a little too powerful for their equipment and overloads Cloverfield Station. No big deal, right? They can still try again, and Earth can wait a little longer. Except there is no Earth now.
The Earth. I can't find anything.
Cloverfield Station is drifting around a sun with no Earth in sight. Whoops. Classic particle accelerator blunder. Amidst this hopeless and earthless situation, the crew has to work together, but some crew members have their own agendas, and there are some really strange things happening in this neck of the space woods. The Cloverfield Paradox has some clear shades of Event Horizon, Alien, Interstellar, Moon, and pretty much whatever other people stuck in space movies that you can possibly think of, but I kinda liked how this one takes place in the near future. There's something a little more hopeless and relatable about the situation in the film. I do admit that the production design doesn't totally reflect that when you see the tech on the spacious space station. I wish that the place had a clunkier retro look like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I mean, at least the jumpsuits look 70s, with the stripes and everything. The story of the film also has that mystery box vibe to it that J.J. Abrams splooges over that makes the film more than just about characters surviving, but also figuring out what's happening. I mean, it was almost to the point where I didn't care about the characters and just wanted to know what was happening on Earth and why the station has so much weird stuff going on. It's a weakness of many J.J. Abrams productions where you're caught up more on the mysteries than the story of the characters. 10 Cloverfield Lane managed to sidestep this because, in order to find out the answers about what's going on, you have to care about Mary Elizabeth Winstead leaving the bunker to find out. In Cloverfield Paradox, though, the film is intentionally withholding info for dramatic purposes. Still, despite some derivativeness and somewhat vexing mysteries that aren't necessarily solved at the end, the movie sucked me in. It's a very tense space thriller at times and has some really weird shit in it. I love weird shit, of course. Like a guy losing his arm in a wall and it coming back disembodied with a mind of its own, Evil Dead style. Somehow.
That's my fucking arm.
The Cloverfield paradox is like a haunted house movie where the house is drifting through space and the ghosts are particles. It's kind of a cool concept. Weirdest thing of all, though, is a crew member on the station named Jensen, who isn't exactly a member of this particular crew. You see, Jensen seemed to pop up out of nowhere, stuck inside a wall like a character in a Bethesda game, entwined in wires. When Jensen recovers from this, not ideal situation, she claims to know certain members of the crew, and even says she's part of the crew.
Mina Jensen. I'm the Shepherd engineer.
No, Tam. Tam is the Shepherd engineer.
What are you talking about?
Even though everyone says they don't know her, Mariah Carey style. I gotta say, the film's plot is really messy and jumbled with mysteries and weird shit, but by the end, the film's third act feels much more like a standard by-the-book stranded in space flick with a typical heel-turn character. Makes you really forget all the weirdness you come from just to get to this point. I feel like the film totally forgot that it had a disembodied arm. You shouldn't forget that stuff when you're screenwriting. Still, ultimately, I enjoyed the cast of the film.
A woman appears in the wall. We're definitely not in Kentucky anymore.
Kansas.
Kansas? Really? Who gives a shit?
The flick felt a bit like The Thing to me, where for much of the film, there's not really a clear main character, and a lot of the characters get their time to shine ensemble-like. The standouts for me are David Oyelowo as Keel, as he tries to remain a strong leader in this desperate situation.
If we can't keep our shit together up here, how can we ever expect them to do it down there?
While still having vulnerable moments. Ha! He's crying. And then there's Chris O'Dowd as Mundi, who's a really good comic relief for the film without getting too over the top.
Are you controlling it?
Of course I'm not controlling it. It's over there.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure, because I'm giving you the finger right now.
I really gotta hand it to him for managing to have such great chemistry acting with his own disembodied arm.
What are you talking about, arm?
Though, I do feel like Volkov was underused, as he's the obligatory character that has the scary, weird monster shit happen to him.
Does look okay?
A film like this could always use more body horror. The emotional core of the film, though, lies with Ava, played by Gugu Mbatha Raw. God, I hope I said that name right, because I'm not looking it up. As far as I know, it's Rob Bottin, not Bottin. I don't even know who Rob Bottin is. By the end, Ava's pretty much the main character of the film, and Mbatha Raw delivers a fine performance as a woman who's conflicted between her family and performing her duty to save the human race.
Go to your husband and your children. Right now. Go to them and hold them. Hold them for as long as you can.
It all culminates in the moral duty, greater good choice at the end that the hero must make. Just like in 10 Cloverfield Lane. The film has a few Earth scenes, and they chiefly concern Ava's husband, Michael, played by Roger Davies, and I really wish they had more scenes with him and that they were more interesting, especially given what's revealed to be happening on Earth. It might have really appeased some of the purists I mentioned. I don't want to go into the ending and mysteries, because I'd rather you just watch this movie to find out. I will say that the ending just feels too much like a last-minute attempt at fan service to tie this film into the first movie, and it leaves a lot of questions. I wish there could have been more to warrant the Cloverfield license this time around, especially since the next Cloverfield flick is apparently taking place in World War II. I don't think that's going to be the one that could finally tie things together or give fans of the first film a satisfying Cloverfield 2. Still, despite the really messy derivative plot, I enjoyed enough of the film to say that it's worth checking out. Maybe it's the big 10 Cloverfield Lane fan in me, but I really did like this flick, and I don't really get the venom it's receiving from viewers and the press. Oh well, I give the Cloverfield paradox a mystery box out of severed arm. Space is scary. Oh, and while I still have your attention, I'd like to take a moment to promote my Patreon. The increase in channel activity lately is all thanks to viewers like you who have donated to the cause. Every little bit helps me scrape by while still maintaining my upload schedule, so if you'd like more frequent reviews, both big and small, as well as gulags from that green fuck goulash, along with even more special stuff, A pledge to my Patreon is greatly appreciated. You'd be integral to helping this little channel grow and allowing me to maintain a steady momentum of vids. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching and possibly donating.